Lady Lee, back with another video. I told you I was coming back. I told y'all I'm gonna bring the car back, talks back. Got a couple of things to share today, so I don't know which one should I go. Well, it's the end of a short, nice weather. I told y'all, well, I ain't tell you nothing because I ain't been on the video, but it was amazing weather last week in the Chi-City. Yeah, we actually got up to the 80s, which is unheard of in April, because April is like that Mesophil weather. It rains, it snows like it's doing now, or it could be nice, but it'd be a hodgepodge. But last week was really a fluke, and people was pulling out their shorts and sundresses and tank tops. I'm walking around like, baby, you gonna be back in your coat. So I don't know why you pulled all that out doing all that, because you gonna be back in the cold weather. And then, you know, the way these young people, these teenagers act last week, you know, maybe Mother Nature did do us a solid, because they act a plum fool, which is one of the topics I want to talk about. So what happened last week in the Chi? There were 2 incidents where teenagers had gathered in large masses, and they were terrorizing people, cars, you know, causing ruckus and stuff. And this light been out since yesterday, and somebody better gotta call the alderman, because this light is still out. Causing ruckus, smashing cars. I think somebody got pow-powed, because you can't say certain things on YouTube. Somebody got pow-powed, and it's just ridiculous. Then that was at 31st Street Beach. Then they turned around, did it the next day downtown. So smashing cars. You know, people come to Chicago and like to hang downtown, out downtown, because it's very touristy. Harassing tourists. This one lady said her and her husband was sitting in the car. They splashed her windshield, opened up the car door, and just started like swinging on her husband. And then, you know, it's this whole debate. Oh, it's the parents, it's the kids. Let me tell you what has happened. I'm gonna break this down to you. I'm old school. When y'all stop, the problem is people don't discipline their kids, because it's this big talk. Oh, you don't spank kids or whip kids. Well, what the hell are you doing? How do they learn? My question is, how would they learn from right from wrong? If you're not disciplining, if you're not doing the spanking or the timeouts, or baby, that timeout, baby, that timeout don't do nothing. But if you're not having some form of discipline, then how do people know and act better? How would they know and act better? And you know, I'm not saying, you know, stomp somebody down, but there's a proper way to do it, you know, that's appropriate. You know, I got whipped. My brother got whipped. But let me tell you what we learn eventually. You don't want no whipping, you don't do nothing. Then, you knew at a point, it's only so far, you knew how to go just far enough. After a while, you learn that. You go just far enough to pull it. You knew what your cutoffs are. You knew you only could go so far. Like, we knew what time to get in the house. You knew what the last, and my mom, she was fair. She gave us grace. My dad worked nights. So, you know, my dad was, you know, both of my parents were stern, but you know, my daddy was, you know, the sternest of them both. But you knew how far you could go. So you was we knew how to tap dance on the fine line after a while. You know, and after a while we didn't get whoopings. Because whoopings turned into fists in your mouth. But you knew, after a while, you learned what you could and could not do. And I used to tell people, I just didn't try it. I wasn't the daredevil. I wasn't, you know, what you say, I was the goody good, maybe. I just didn't try it. Because I knew how my parents was. I wasn't going to sneak off. I wasn't going to lie. Because I just, you know, I would be that person that will lie and get caught up in a lie and will see somebody or do something. So, there's a lot of things I just didn't try. You know, went off to college. There you was a little more daredevilish in college because you're like, okay, I'm away. But high school, no. I knew how far I could go with Darlene and Michael. But I think we lack discipline. And I went to school for education. I was an education major for the longest. I studied child psychology. So I know the difference between, you know, harsh corporate punishment and what's appropriate. That's appropriate way to punish and discipline your children, and DCFS don't have to be involved. It's a way to properly do it. Because, you know, people first say, well, you ain't no mama, I ain't got to be a mother. I study child psychology. I'm around kids all the time. Y'all forget, you send your kids off to college, they still a kid. They is not adults yet. Baby, trust me, when I tell you these college freshmen, they are not adults, baby. They still. And hell, they could be juniors and seniors and still kids. So, don't tell me. Because everybody be quick to say, well, you're not a mom. But one day I will be a mom, you know? And I know what I'm going to do. I know how I grew up. I knew how my brother grew up. And pretty much a lot of everybody in the neighborhood got whoopings. Let's just keep it right. We all got whoopings. We turned out okay, productive citizens. Everybody got their butt whooped. You did wrong, you got your butt whooped. You want to just get whooping to be whooped? You did something wrong. And you knew you did wrong, right? So, I'm going to be done with that. But it just got to be some discipline with the parents. But, you know, some parents, they didn't know, you know, because you got some teens that run off and go do stuff. Don't tell nobody. Their parents didn't know they was even out there. So somebody said something. So you got parents, they might be working 2 or 3 jobs. So, I mean, I'm not going to, you know, totally put a blame on the parents, but it's a community effort. It's a village. So, I'm going to say that. But, you know, what is it going to take? And everybody, like, looking at the new mayor already. It just takes more than the mayor of Chicago. It takes everybody. It takes grandma, the teachers, the parents, cousins. Everybody got to be a support. You got to, it's the village. We all responsible. I'm responsible in a way, you know? Uh-oh, there we go. Is it still going? Is it still going? Yep. I'm responsible, so